Who'd have ever thought that I'd get to 6 episodes? Probably people who tune into our podcast might go, God, we thought you would because you batter on every week and keep turning up. But yeah, the interest level is still going for this. I guess behind the curtains, I film these in advance, so who knows whether anyone's still watching or has any interest in it. Who knows? I might be an internet billionaire by now because these 6 episodes have been so popular. I've made my fortune. I think we're more likely be leaning towards the first one. This is a slight departure from previous weeks of what we've seen so far. Mystery boxes will tend to be the core product here because I like buying them, and also I'm not silly. I know that people kind of like to see them opened if we're going to do that sort of thing. So if I'm going to kind of grow this as a product, I want people to be getting what they want, but also to try and drive a bit of interest in pop collections, and the sort of things that I like in pops, and hopefully when you're liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel, so starting to remember to do that, you might also tune in and see some of our other products like our podcast. PS, if you are of a certain age and a young age and you were watching this because you like pop unboxings, don't watch our podcast, not child appropriate. If you are also a gamer, we do sort of gaming bits on here, talk a bit about wrestling on some of it, and I think there's some more content to come. So, we are trying to grow something here. Now, where this is a slight departure for me, though, is I don't have my usual box here. So actually, my kind of murderer's row of pops that I like, or that my favourites are behind me, and there are no newer additions in there. And I have no specific new additions like I've done in the last couple of pickups along the way. I'm not saying that there aren't some of those pickups that I've done that might not make it into there at some point, but in my head, and this sounds terrible, I hope pops don't have feelings, because the ones that are on the shelves behind me, they tend to sit in certain criteria or certain lines, and as new ones come in, I shift it around, and I think there are certain lines that I've not got into collecting yet, but are certainly starting to, may supersede some of that. I'm also considering moving some of them into out of box, because the boxes do take up a chunk of space. So having some of them out of box would be quite good. I think there's just a bit of extra sorting out I need to do in the room, and probably settle down a little bit before I take too many out of the box. And I've got to kind of, I would keep the boxes, so I've got to figure out where the boxes are going to live. So there'd still be quite a bit of space. I want to say my loft, but don't really like going up there. There might be spiders. So why is this a departure, and why is there not a box here? Well, I do have a box, and the box is down here. It's not a mystery box, so this is a purchase I made from another collector. I made it through Facebook Marketplace, and I think I've spoken on a separate episode about trading and buying from other areas. Now, I do like to buy from shops because there's a guaranteed condition element to it, and there's more of a ability to get your money back if they come in damaged, or more likely that they come in and someone can't flit off. But I do want to turn people to like the Facebook groups and things like that. I think I said previously, I'm a member of one specifically called Funko Fireflies. It's a great community. People are really helpful. They help you find the pops you need. They do decent trades, and they're a trustworthy group. But this was actually Facebook Marketplace, and I felt quite lucky to get the pops, because the ad had been up for about a week before I saw it, and I have had this before where I've gone to message the person and I'm way too late now. I love this person's collection. They had so many pops from lines that I ultimately want, but by the time I got to it, a lot of them had been sold. However, not all, and so I've picked quite a few up. The reason why the box is off camera is it's got loads of, for protection purposes, loads of kind of packing peanut type things, and I didn't really want to shift that. I could feel that when I moved the box. That's why I've slightly opened it beforehand, and I didn't really want to embarrass myself by opening the box and then going everywhere. So I'm going to kind of do this a slightly different. So I'll be grabbing stuff out of this box. Now, as I say, all of these are from one collector and their collection. And there are some that I really, really want in here. Three in particular that were the things that made me look at it. And going back to the collector's mentality, there were some that I had no consideration of collecting, but saw them and they were reasonably priced. They really were in comparison to TPD. So again, I got a little bit carried away, but let's do the whole box and have a look. Now, I'm just unbubble wrapping one here. So this is one of the ones that I wasn't considering buying before I saw it was on sale. And partially, and this may seem like a very, very silly thing to do, but it's from a movie, and it's from a movie I've never even seen. However, it is a Nick Wilde pop from Zootropolis. Now, as I say, I was looking at quite a few pops that the person had that they were shifting out of their collection, and I looked at the price of it. I looked at what it was trending at on TPD, and it was a good price in comparison to TPD. Why did I look at TPD? Well, I just quite like the look of the pop. I don't know whether, and sorry to my podcast mate Jimmy, who doesn't like foxes, but I quite like foxes. And in lieu of there being a fantastic Mr. Fox set or a fantastic Mr. Fox pop, he absolutely jumped out at me. So yeah, so Nick Wilde joined the collection, but an unexpected join in the collection, and probably shouldn't have, because I probably shouldn't have spent the money. But you only live once, don't you? Right. So let's get another one out of this collection I bought, and this, by the same token, is also from Zootropolis. So again, not from a movie I have any affinity for or anything like that, but when you're buying one from there, you kind of have a look at what the other ones were. Now, this one wasn't one that jumped out at me so much because of the art style of it. This one was more about valuation. You know, I was getting a little bit carried away and going, let's buy everything. And again, the price for this was quite a bit under what it's currently trending at valuation wise. So I thought, go on, treat yourself, because I'm guessing Judy Hopps, the female bunny from Zootropolis, may well be romantically linked with Nick Wilde. Could be making a jump there, so apologies to big Zootropolis fans, but who am I to split up a loving relationship, especially when they're coming in at bargain prices? So there's the first two. I've gone for these first two first because, as I say, they are not from anything I have any affinity to. I was just attracted by the look and the price of it. When we talk about overspends, the next couple also come into the overspend category, and it's the one point where I've actually shown a tiny, tiny bit of self-control on doing this, because there were further pops from this line that were available, but they were again a good price for the value they go for. But I was already spending a reasonable chunk on this collection, so I had to pare it down to just a couple from this line, and of course it affords me the ability to pick the others up at a later date. But and I think it might be considered quite odd, the two that I did pick up from the line and the two that I left behind, but there's reasons for it, and I'll go into it. So this is my first foray into the X-Files line of pops. Now, the X-Files was a huge show at a certain point in my life, and I really liked it. I watched a lot of it. It had a bit of a law of diminishing returns over a longer period of time, and I felt like it fizzled out quite a lot. But as I say, it is a line I have a lot of like for, and they are not cheap pops. You know, they tend to, the four in the line, they tend to go from sort of £25 up. And there are some people might say £25 that's pretty cheap, but you know, it is a toy, and when you're comparing it to a lot of pops you can get within that £5 to £10 range, it is. So I hadn't really expected to get onto this line so soon, but as I say, how can you pass up the chance when it's there? So this is the alien from the X-Files line, the grey alien. So the X-Files line has the cigarette smoking man, the alien, Dana Scully, Fox Mulder. As I've got two from this line, one of them being the alien, and I think a lot of people's expectation would be that you're going to get Mulder and Scully, but bizarrely enough, no, I didn't. I got the Alien and the Cigarette Smoking Man. Um, I like the Alien because I think it's a great design. It's key to the show, and I always quite like the idea of the grey aliens. And when I saw the pop, I thought, that would look good in my collection. And the other one I got, which I'm just unbubble wrapping here, is, as I say, the Cigarette Smoking Man. So why did I get the Cigarette Smoking Man, and why did I leave Mulder and Scully behind? Well, Mulder and Scully, as I say, were just a little bit up on what I could afford to spend at the time, because there were other pops that I wanted to get that you'll see in a minute. So why the Cigarette Smoking Man instead of Mulder and Scully? I loved him. And when I say love, like, obviously he was for the large part a bad guy, and actually drove the stories forward with his machinations and constantly trying to cause issues for Mulder and Scully. But I found him that one of the most compelling parts about the series. And also, when you had a episode with the Cigarette Smoking Man, you knew that the alien story would be progressed rather than the weekly one. But yeah, a really kind of iconic figure for me, and I don't know whether it comes across in there, but also he's smoking a cigarette. He has a cigarette in his hand. I don't know going forward. I think Funko at a certain point, and I'm just going to look at age while I kind of riff on this a little bit, were a smaller company and took a lot more risks. So some of the Breaking Bad pops, for example, they show like crystal meth. In fact, one of them is coloured the same as the blue crystal meth from Breaking Bad. I don't know, as a company now that I think it's grown sort of bigger and more corporate, and has probably a lot more of a child friendly audience, whether you'll see things with cigarettes, booze, drugs, guns going forward. However, you couldn't have a cigarette smoking man without a cigarette. So, who knows whether we'll see a pop like it again. But I'm really glad to get him in my collection. And looking at it, do I regret not buying the Mulder and Scully? Of course I do. It would have been lovely to get the whole line in one. But as I say, sometimes I think you do need to limit yourselves a little bit. So 2015, the X-Files pop line come out. So we're looking at 6-year-old pops. Speaking of pop price, for me, it was the right price. It was coming in at under what the current market value is. If I'd had to buy it on eBay, I'd had to spend a lot more, or wait for it to be in a shop. And as much as I love the shops, because you can often get discounts and sales, I think on pops like these, the older pops with some value, you're much less likely to see them go into a sale or anything like that, because that's where these companies make a lot of their money, and good on them. So I said earlier that there might be a pop that might appear in the lineup behind me there. Well, I don't think it will be the Cigarette Smoking Man or the Alien or the Zootropolis ones. The Cigarette Smoking Man and the Alien will probably go top shelf there alongside Community and Bewitched, because that tends to be where the bulk of me TV pops are ending up. However, in the Murderer's Row behind me, I've got my WandaVision range now. The next pop I got isn't specifically from WandaVision, the TV show, and I think I've discussed this in other videos, is sometimes the pops from a particular character rise rapidly in value and stay there. And that certainly happened with Scarlet Witch pops after WandaVision come out. I quite like the character, but I come to pop collecting too late to pick them up at a cheap price. Will they potentially drop as distance comes between us and WandaVision? Possibly, but sometimes pops rise up and stay there. And I think that might be the case with a lot of the Scarlet Witch and the Vision ones. So yeah, albeit not a WandaVision pop itself, this is the Scarlet Witch pop from the Age of Ultron movie. So it was her introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I didn't think I'd get this in the collection. I am quite interested in actually picking up all of the Age of Ultron line. I recently rewatched it, and I think it's one of the Marvel movies that doesn't get as much love as it deserves, because I think it does a lot. It brings through the it brings a story on and introduces a lot of concepts and characters that really, really do pay off later. So this, again, very good price on this. So thanks very much. And I won't name the person who sold them to me because that's not fair. They've not agreed to put themselves on there. But yeah, I got this for a very, very good price. And you look back to pre One Division being on TV, and this used to sell for about 10 quid. And since that, it's been up in the £50 range. I would say generally 45 to £55 it sells on eBay. So again, a tale of getting in while the getting's good. Don't hang on forever. Maybe buy them while they are reasonably priced, because you never know. A bit of interest, and potentially as a character that's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie. You know, you never know, it might spike again. So even with that, sometimes you just have to take that leap. But with any collection, if you damaged it, or if there's a drop in popularity, price may go down. But again, got that for a very good price. So she will sit in the honorary One Division grouping up the top. Now, the next two pops come as a pair. They're not a 2-pack. I don't want to suggest that, but they come as a pair. I'm gonna unbubble wrap both, and I'm going to try and reveal both at the same time. The Scarlet Witch was a bonus. The X-Files was a bonus that I probably shouldn't have purchased. The Zootropolis was definitely something that I wasn't planning on purchasing and arguably shouldn't have. But the next two bad boys are the reason why I saw the Facebook marketplace post, and the reason I stayed, and the reason I looked at it and purchased ultimately. So again, talking about, as I do on most of these, why things end up in the collection. A lot of it is love of stuff from childhood, and this is a franchise that I loved as a kid. I read the books over and over again because we had a local library just up the road, and they were always in there. And I think if most of them weren't in my house, it's because I'd just taken them back to get some other ones. And initially, I think like most of us, when you start something like this, you start to have a look around and go, oh, what have they got? And I knew they did a lot of movie. I knew they did a lot of Marvel, DC. So I started to look at that. But as time goes by, much like my Most Wanted on the side, you find some of maybe the more obscure lines. I think of like, for example, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as a obscure toy producing line at this time. The Christopher Robin ones, even the Kill Bill, you don't expect a lot of figures and toys necessarily out of that. So I don't really know how I stumbled on the fact that there were figures for this set, but once I did, I was like, they're going right on my list. Funny enough, as the Most Wanted goes, these would, if that ran to 10, these would have been in my top 10, so I would have been able to tick something off. But I kind of guess you can only rinse it out for so long. But the two pops that made me do this purchase is Asterix and Obelix. Let's see if I can angle that so I can get it on camera better. Yeah, as I say, a franchise I absolutely adored in the, I guess, the comic book format that they were, similar to like how they used to produce the Tintin books. But I think they're just great. Talked about some things look good in a pop, and these two, for me, they were almost made and designed to be pops. Or on the flip side, I think that's why pops are so popular, because they can take characters that you already like, they're instantaneously recognizable, but actually take on that kind of new attractive format in that. I will be honest, if I had a favourite out of the two, so there's Asterix. From a pop related standpoint and from a character, when I read the books, my favourite was always Obelix, and I will say he's a chunky pop. This bad boy weighs a bit there. I think it feels like the heaviest pop I own, other than my Cull Obsidian pop from Avengers Infinity War. He's a beefy boy as well with a massive head. So yeah, again, I started the video saying this is a bit of a departure, and I think you can easily fall into the trap of just going mystery box, mystery box, mystery box. But I do want some of these videos to kind of really key into the excitement and the enjoyment that can come as being a collector. And will Asterix and Obelix float your boat? I don't know, but it does mine, and I think that's the beauty of it. So I hope you enjoyed me unboxing what is, I guess, a bigger purchase for me, but a real. I am filling out my collection with bits and bobs, and I've said before, I don't think you'll be seeing me opening the £1,000 pops or anything like that. I can't imagine it goes there. Cue to about 3 episodes time when I talk about £1,000. I haven't got £1,000 mystery box, but you know, I can see how you fall and you fall fast. But this is how you build a collection, I guess. And at the moment, I think this is my post completing the Always Sunny in Philadelphia one. I think this is my biggest singular purchase of pops where I go, do you know what? I'm really glad I got them in the collection. Did I? I'm not going to say overspend. I think they were a very good valuation for the price they go for. But did I personally spend more on getting these in the collection than I probably had planned? Yeah, truthfully I did. But do you know what? Even if their prices dipped a little bit or stay static, I'm glad I got them when I did, and I'm also glad that hopefully me purchasing this from that collector is allowing them to do whatever they need to do with that money, or potentially it's to getting new lines on that. So have a look at the Facebook Marketplace. There are some good deals to be had. Please remember when you're doing it though, get photos. The prices of these, I was very iffy as to whether to do it, because sometimes the price is good for a reason, but looking at the condition of them, they're all in fantastic condition as well, and I had been sent photos beforehand to suggest that they were in really good condition. So yeah, use it, look at it, but just do it with an air of caution, and make sure that you've got yourself covered, because collecting anything isn't cheap, and what I'd hate to see is people to just throw away money. And I think in a large part, when that does happen or start to happen, that's when your love for the collection goes. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed an insight into what I'm looking to collect here. And as I say, some of these bad boys are going to be appearing behind me very, very soon on future videos. Speak to you all later, and thanks for watching. Cheers, bye. Thanks for watching, and just remember, you can join the Cult of Egg by liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel. We release regular content where we talk about all things geek, all things pop culture, and all things that we're interested in. You can also come along and join the discussion on Facebook groups and Renaissance Cast. And you can join us on our Twitch channel where Stu regularly streams games. And if you'd like to support us, then please follow the link for the Patreon. Thanks very much.